Well, literally within minutes after uploading my video regarding Tigerlily and this trust fund, look what happened. Tigerlily literally came out with a IG. First 5 questions. Now I'm gonna tell you this now. Nobody asked her this question. She did this on her own accord because the speed that she was able to then respond with this or to put this up there was too fast. And also on top of that, all the other questions that came after this was crazy. Now I will say this before I read it as well. The fact that she feels the need to explain everything in such detail. You know what they say, right? When somebody isn't telling the truth, they over-explain. Somebody that knows that they are not guilty, they will give you a very simple, straight to the point answer. And they will only expand only if you question them again. All right, that is how it works, generally speaking, when it comes to people who are trying to cover something up. So let's just pretend somebody asks Tigerlily, did you steal 340k from your grandfather's trust? All right, now this is what it reads in front of our eyes here as we get a nice little zoom in. You know what I mean? Let's get that little cheeky zoom in there. So as you can see, she says this is a long answer that will be several slides long. Sure. Let me first start by saying that people should really do their own research to educate themselves on anything really, and just this. But in all aspects of life in general, question everything. Don't just believe what you read or see other people saying, me included. Research. I understand that reading legal documents isn't easy. Wow. Talk about throwing the shade, but not at me, you know what I mean? But anyway, so I just read what was provided, but anyway, we continue. All right, folks. With that being said, but everything I'm about to tell you is all public knowledge and is out there for anyone to see for themselves. I've been schooled and trained to read legal documents as part of my career for over 5 years now, and it does not get easier with time. Oh, because Tigerlily's got training, that must mean that we don't know how to read documents with just our own common sense. I mean, is that what she's trying to tell us? That we need training to be able to read documents? Otherwise, if we read them, we won't even read them correctly? Oh, heebie-jeebies. But nonetheless, though, let's continue. She starts off by saying, Firstly, only trustees of the trust. Girl, I ain't got time to read in your slow ass ways. Anyway, have access to the money in the trust. So there's absolutely no way that I could have even touched any money from my grandfather's trust, as I was not the trustee. Well, okay. If you've seen my video before, yeah, you know. Nonetheless, though, we continue. My grandfather's trust was set up with my grandmother being the 100% beneficiary upon his passing. My grandparents were multimillionaires, and my grandfather loved my grandmother so much and loved spoiling her. They had the most amazing love for each other, but let's ignore the forgery part for the basis of this answer and only focus on what's publicly out there regarding the debt that I owe. Right. You know, getting straight to the point to defend yourself isn't a hard thing, but hey, Tigerlily likes to speak to people as if we are all below her, and that is one of the biggest issues that we have with her. Like, honestly, the fact that people even follow her is actually quite embarrassing, but nonetheless, though, we continue. The trustee was my uncle, and he wasn't giving my grandmother a penny of the trust that was set up for her. My mum and I were taking care of her and paying out of our own pocket for her to keep living in the manner in which she was accustomed to. This included food, drink, clothing, toiletries, rent, household bills, and all living expenses for 3.5 years. She lived until she passed. And yes, she had legal bills too, because her own son, the trustee, was suing her, and also my mum and I. What son sues their own mother? You know, the way she's going out on pure force to make a point. Okay, right. Anyway, we continue. And yes, I'm so thankful the Texas court approved the protective order, so I was able to stop the verbal, emotional, and mental abuse the trustee was causing her. She had dementia and thought my grandfather wasn't dead, but was away on business until the trustee reminded her he was dead. And she had to relive it every time as if it were her first time she was hearing it. And he'll tell her how he didn't have any money, was working so hard and couldn't afford anything. He talked in a baby voice. He would talk in a baby voice? Wait, does that sound familiar? Oh, maybe I'm just... maybe I'm going crazy. Anyway, and referred to himself in third person like he was a child to try and trick her into giving him money. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. It seems to me as if that's something that you'd probably do yourself, to be honest. But anyway, we continue. It's been 2 years since my grandmother passed, and the trust is supposedly to be divided 3 ways and get dispersed to the beneficiaries. I am one of those beneficiaries, but the trustee has refused to disperse the millions. So ask yourself, who is the actual person who stole here? Who is the one holding all of the millions? Who is the only person who has the actual who has actually spent any of the trust money, because they're the only person who had access to the money? Bingo, the trustee. You know what? We'll continue. The 340K is the amount that he spent suing his own mother, my mother, and me. The corrupt Florida court signed off on the court order for my mum and I to pay the trust back for the legal fees that the trustee spent. Pretty messed up, right? Question mark. And the kicker is that since I am 1/3 of the beneficiary, I am owed 1/3 of the trust, which is well over 340K debt. Okay, I have zero desire to get my 1/3 of the trust. I am not struggling for money. I do not need it. I am not requesting to get any of the hundreds of thousands of dollars my mum and I spent on my grandmother back. I've even told the court to take the 340K out of my 1/3 of the trust, but the trustee won't accept that. So again, ask yourself, who is the real thief here? Well, that was the end of that little rant by herself. But you know what's interesting though, right? And this is the thing that I really want to go back to here. I'm not too sure what page it was on. I think it was actually on the second page itself in particular. It was in this one, wasn't it, right? And she said at the bottom here, let's just ignore the forgery part for the basis of this answer and only focus on what's publicly out there regarding the debt I owe. But here's the thing though, the forgery part is something that has to be addressed, because that was exactly a part of what I spoke about in my previous video, because that is something that was then reported about her, you know, relating to the fact of why she became a handwriting expert in the first place. And somebody said to me that she says that obviously she took 4 long years, but apparently it actually only takes 2 years to do it, and 2 years can cost you about 30K, I think it was, and 4 years, if you just do 4 years, then that'd be 60K. But somebody said that you can't really, doing the 4 years isn't something that you have to do, it's actually the 2 years. Do you see what I'm saying? The reason why that was pointed out is because before, Tigerlily was trying to promote courses where she was trying to get people to pay her to teach them how to become a handwriting expert, and she was obviously charging prices that were just atrocious. So people do wonder if she was just saying 4 years just for the sake of saying that, when in reality it was never that. It was 2 years because she wants people to sign up to her little scheme, so therefore she can charge double the amount, you know, when you're really into it, she doesn't have to do that. But again though, don't quote me on that. That's just something that somebody mentioned to me, so I'm not too sure about that. I'm just repeating that one for what I remember being said to myself, okay? But nonetheless though, Tigerlily has obviously come back in her corner and she's given us one hell of an explanation, okay? And to be honest with you, the fact that she felt the need to actually throw the trustee under the bus is actually quite crazy, because she's responding as if it was the trustee was the one that came out to out this information, when that wasn't the case. The information was found on public records, and therefore it was then obviously put online, and then I reported it. It's as simple as that. So the fact that she's actually explaining it in a way that she has to put the attention on the trustee and away from herself tells me everything that I need to know about someone like her. You know, she will never take the complete heat on herself. She will make sure that somebody else's name is involved. Even though she doesn't put his name out there, she will make sure that obviously that person is obviously involved. But I would guess the reason why she didn't want to say his name is because allegedly or currently the ongoing court case is actually still going. it's not over yet from my understanding. So that's why I think, she didn't want to say his name. It's either that or just they want to give him clout. I don't know. Either way though, the matter of fact is, it is entirely up to you folks, whether you choose to want to believe Tigerlily or if you choose that you do not want to believe Tigerlily. And as far as I am concerned when it comes to this, the way I look at it is that as soon as I uploaded my video, literally within minutes, this woman came on social media, and then all of a sudden she allegedly then been asked a question by a follower about this 340k, all right? And then all of a sudden she goes on a whole freaking rampage of how many posts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 posts, literally rambling about the situation. Crazy. And then she proceeds to say, now tell me your thoughts. Wow. Can you imagine? She's now trying to see how many people that she either one has actually convinced, or maybe even trying to, throw in questions of her own thoughts so she can respond to them to make sure things look even better for herself. But you know what though? I haven't read this bit, so let's get into it and see what else is said regarding tell me your thoughts. I can't believe people twisting that story to make it seem like you stole. Okay. She says, right, it's not their fault. I think they just don't have experience reading legal documents. But people can't steal from a bank account that they don't have access to. And they can't claim I stole when I actually owed money much more than that. Interesting. We move on to the next one. How did you take money out of the trust if you say the trustee didn't pay you? I am confused. She says, that's the point. I never even had access to any money from the trust. The 340k are the trustee's legal fees for suing his own mother, my mother, and me. Wild, right? It's funny because she literally said that in the other one. So she's basically wanted to repeat this again. Again, for me personally, I find it hard to believe that people did. Well, I find it hard to believe that some of the comments that we're getting is actually based on, some people giving their thoughts, to be honest with you. Is it the uncle from your mom's side or dad's side? My brother's side. My mom's brother. Also says, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Death brings out the greed in the most of people. Definitely, and I always say that money doesn't change people, it shows who they truly are. You know what's so crazy about this? If you haven't seen the video that I made before, so I recommend you watching it. Tigerlily also does accuse her uncle of doing what? Of taking the life of her grandfather. Yeah, watch that video and you will get that gist, and you'll get information that you need. Right, and also on top of that, as you can see here, it says, how is illegally able to withhold from paying out if it's written in stone, so to speak? She says, I keep asking myself this too. No idea. The only thing I can come up with is what I've seen and that the Florida court is corrupt. My grandmother has been passed for over 2 years now and the trust should have been dispersed upon her passing. Okay. Wow. Just wow. How sad and how low the trustee. Yep. Money makes people so evil. I think you didn't even have to explain yourself. I'm an open book, you guys. Anything I said is all public knowledge. Well, you didn't say everything that was public knowledge because there was more to what I read out. So to be honest with you, yeah, you didn't say the full shebang. You said everything that could fit your narrative and everything that you could twist or answer in a way that makes sense to yourself. Now, here's the thing. End of the day, it is one of those things where it is Tigerlily's word against the court records. But hey, according to Tigerlily, none of us know how to read court records. But okay, whatever you say. My thoughts are that people are nosy arseholes, that's so. Yes, and I knew it would happen when I started being on TV, so it's just a part of the business. Okay. Your piece, not needing all the money, is inspirational. I find it hard to let go of. Okay, the money was never mine to begin with. It was my grandmother while she was living. I'm just happy my mom and I were able to stop the abuse and to have the finances take care of her own on her own. Okay, cool, whatever. Right, so it is entirely up to you folks how you want to take this information, what you want to believe, how you want to obviously, for yourself. As far as I am concerned, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to Tigerlily and herself in particular, it is very hard for myself in particular to be in a position where I feel like I am able to, what's the word I'm looking for here? Where I'm able to actually believe anything that she says, because to be honest with you, anytime Tigerlily speaks, most of the time it is, 99, probably 100% of the time, is to make sure that it works out in her favor, and It's nothing else but that. You see what I'm saying? But nonetheless, though, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and we can most certainly talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.